Jesse Hopson Arnold, 1889 to 1958. Jesse Hopson Arnold is born on July 6, 1889, in Ottumwa, Iowa. His parents are Henry Elijah Arnold and Lydia Elnora Thompson. Lydia's nickname is Nora. Henry works in a sawmill. Nora is busy taking care of Guy, Jesse's 2-year-old brother, and now she has Jesse to look after as well. In 1889, Ottumwa is a bustling town with a population of around 10,000 people. The town is a hub for coal mining, agriculture, and manufacturing industries. The streets are lined with shops, saloons, and churches, reflecting a diverse population of European immigrants, Native Americans, and African Americans who call Ottumwa home. The town has a strong sense of community pride and hosts events like fairs and parades that bring people together. Part of Ottumwa's economy is based on coal mining, with several mines operating in the area, providing jobs for many residents. Agriculture also plays a significant role in the town's economy, with farms surrounding Ottumwa producing crops like corn, wheat, and oats. Additionally, manufacturing industries such as foundries and mills contribute to the town's prosperity. Ottumwa's diverse populations bring a rich tapestry of cultures to the town. Residents celebrate their heritage through cultural events, music, and food. Churches serve not just as places of worship, but also as community centers where people gather for social events and support. Schools and libraries are important institutions that promote education and literacy among Ottumwa's residents. At the time of the U.S. Census in 1900, when Jesse is 11, Henry works as a day laborer. The family lives at 501 Queen Avenue in Ottumwa. Jesse has 3 brothers besides Guy. Everett was born in 1893 and Orville in 1898, and 2 sisters, Verna, born in 1891, and Nita in 1897. A year later, in 1901, Henry works as a teamster. The only detail we know about Jesse's childhood is that he graduates from 8th grade in 1903, his last year of schooling. Henry's younger brother, Calvin Oscar Arnold, is a jeweler in Ottumwa, and apparently introduces Jesse to the jewelry profession. In 1905, Jesse is an intern jeweler in Grinnell, Iowa, 60 miles north of Ottumwa, and also works at F.J. Graves & Sons, a cigarette manufacturer in Ottumwa. Jesse continues to live with his parents, who have set up a new household at 612 Ellis Avenue in Ottumwa. In 1907 and 1908, Jesse works at his Uncle Oscar's store, Arnold Jewelry and Music Company, on Main Street in Ottumwa. A few years later, in 1910, Jesse no longer lives with his parents. Oscar has sold his jewelry store and has moved to Pasadena, California. By 1912, Jesse, on the right, is working for James Boy, a manufacturing jeweler and engraver in Springfield, Illinois. He's in the middle of the picture. Louise Mildred Turner is now the other important development in Jesse's life. Like Jesse, Louise was born in Ottumwa. She has a sister, Helen, and 3 brothers, William, Arthur, and Carl. Helen and Carl are younger than Louise. Her parents, Charles Edward Turner and Anna Matilda Forbes, are from Illinois and Pennsylvania, respectively, but they now live in Iowa while their children are growing up. Louise's father is a locomotive engineer. When Louise and Jesse are teenagers, their parents live just a few blocks apart in Ottumwa. Jesse is the same age as Louise's brother Arthur. Jesse and Art are probably friends in school, and that is how Jesse meets Louise. In 1910, Jesse and Louise and Arthur and his girlfriend, Zella Gray, go on a double date. Art and Zella aspire to careers in show business. The two couples go to a photo studio, dress up as high rollers, and have their pictures taken. In the first picture, we see Zella and Art reading a magazine with Louise and Jesse looking on. In the second picture, we see Jesse and Louise seated at a table, smiling at each other. In 1912, Louise and Jesse's relationship progresses to a proposal and marriage. On their wedding day, Jesse begins the day at his in-laws' handsome four-bedroom house on Barrett Street in Burlington, Iowa. We see Louise and Jesse on the side of the house with Anna. In the next few pictures, we see Jesse, Louise, and the Turners on an outing to a local park that overlooks the Mississippi River. We see Helen and Louise posing with Jesse against a railing overlooking the river. Charles, Anna, Louise, Helen, and Jess next to a statue of a Civil War hero, and, finally, a steamboat on the river. In 1915, Burlington, Ohio is a bustling city with a population of around 25,000 people. A riverside city, Burlington is bordered on the east by the Mississippi River. The city has a well-developed streetcar system, making it easy for residents to move around the city. Horse-drawn carriages are still common, but automobiles are becoming popular. Burlington is a hub for manufacturing, with industries like lumber, milling, and rail car production driving the local economy. The city has prosperous tree-lined neighborhoods. The city is also known for its agricultural processing plants. Residents enjoy a variety of entertainment options, including vaudeville shows at the Capitol Theater, baseball games at Community Field, and social gatherings at the elegant Memorial Auditorium. Overall, life in Burlington in 1915 is marked by a mix of traditional and modern elements, reflecting the city's growth and prosperity at the time. After their 1912 marriage, Jesse and Louise set up a household in Burlington. They live in a small house at 615 Hedge Avenue. In this view of the backyard, we see Louise sitting at a portable yard swing. We will see the swing later at their house in Long Beach, and still later at the ranch. Within a few years, Louise and Jess have two sons, Richard Eldon Arnold in 1915 and Charles Henry Arnold in 1917. Charles's nickname is Buck. In the next picture, we see Louise, Jesse, Buck, and Dick inside their house on Hedge Avenue. The scene radiates an ambience of prosperity. In 1916, just before Buck was born, the Arnolds hold a family reunion in Burlington. The stars of the reunion are Jesse's grandparents, Hopson Arnold, 1835 to 1917, and Margaret Elizabeth Walker, 1840 to 1918. In the first reunion picture, we see in the back row from left to right, Orville Webster, Nita's husband, Guy, Duck, Hopson, behind Lydia, and Henry. In the second row, we see Nita, Amy, Guy's wife, Margaret, Louise, Lydia, and Jesse. In the front row, we see Jewel, Jess's sister, holding hands with Virginia Webster, Lavina, Guy and Amy's daughter, and then Verna, Jess's sister, holding Dick. Hopson is a Civil War veteran and a former bricklayer who now lives at an old soldier's home in Illinois. In this picture, we see Hopson on the left, Henry and Guy, with Guy's daughter in front. In the second picture, we see Hopson, whose head is unfortunately cut off by the photographer, Henry, and Jess holding Dick. It is a four-generation picture. The final picture is a portrait of Jesse holding Dick and Louise. Buck is not yet born, of course. Jess's grandmother, Elizabeth, has divorced her husband some years before, and since 1910 has been living with her son, Oscar Arnold, in Pasadena, California. This picture from 1918 shows her in Pasadena with two of her great-grandchildren, Virginia Webster and Robert N. Arnold, Oscar's son. A few years after the reunion, Jesse and Louise load their two boys in their new Buick sedan and move to Long Beach, California. We get a better picture of what the new car looks like in 1920 from this restoration. Jesse establishes himself as a jeweler. Jesse and Louise rent an apartment on Atlantic Avenue in Long Beach, and then in 1920 buy a two-bedroom house at 4002 Massachusetts Street. The house enables Jesse to pursue new hobbies. He builds an aviary in the backyard and breeds finches and parrots. These photos show Louise posing with Jesse's aviary and with his birdhouse. He conducts hydroponic experiments in the garage. Jesse and Louise plant a beautiful garden in the backyard with trellises and flower beds. In 1920, Long Beach, California is a bustling city, known for its beautiful beaches and growing population. Long Beach experiences an economic boom later in the decade, driven by the discovery of oil in 1927. The climate and oil industry bring wealth and job opportunities to the city, attracting people from diverse backgrounds. Long Beach is a melting pot of cultures in 1920, with a mix of immigrants, including Japanese, Mexican, and European communities. This diversity enriches the city's cultural landscape, influencing its cuisine, traditions, and celebrations. In the 1920s, Long Beach offers a variety of leisure activities, including amusement parks, theaters, and beach resorts. The city's vibrant entertainment scene, such as the Pike Amusement Zone, provides residents with opportunities for relaxation and socializing. Dick and Buck grow up in the house on Massachusetts streets in the midst of this economic boom. They play in the backyard with their dog, Muggins. In another scene, Buck shows off his boat, while Dick proudly stands behind his bicycle. In the next photograph, we see Jesse sitting by an outdoor table and swing. The swing will be modified later to fit on the porch at the ranch. At Christmas 1920, the Arnolds assemble at Henry and Lydia's house at 1721 Myrtle Avenue in Long Beach, actually in Bellflower, a part of Long Beach. The family pose for a portrait on the front lawn in birth order. Vernon, 14, and still in school. Sadie Jewell, 17, also in school. Orville, 22, a cement worker. Nita, 23, a housewife, married to Orville Webster, an electrician, with daughter Virginia. Everett, 27, a cement worker. Verna, 29, housewife, married to Samuel Perea, a machinist. Jesse, 31, jeweler and married to Louise with sons Dick and Buck. Guy, 33, a carpenter, married to Amy with daughter Lavina. Lydia, 54, a housewife with a chicken business. And finally, Henry, 61, a cement worker. In another photo taken the same day, we see Dick, Lavina, Buck, and Virginia Webster on a bench with Muggins in the dog in front and Duck, as Orville was known, in the background. We see some additional snapshots of the extended Arnold family when they assemble again in 1925 at 1721 Myrtle Avenue. The first photo shows on the top left Everett next to Goldie, who is holding Betty. Samuel Perea next to Verna in the top right. In the middle row, Jess on the far left, Henry and Lydia in the middle, and in the front row, Lavina, Virginia Webster, Buck, and Dick. In the next photo, we see Henry and sons assembled behind the house in front of their cars. Starting on the left, Everett, then Guy, Henry, Jess, and finally Orville, or Duck. Long Beach is booming, and the Arnold men in the cement business are building sidewalks that the growing city needs. They seem to be doing well. In the final picture, we see the kids assembled on the front bumper of a parked car. From the left, Buck, Dick, Lavina, and Virginia Webster. Jesse and Louise explore the California countryside with their boys in the years after their arrival. For example, in 1923, the family goes on a trip to the Mojave Desert, where Dick, Buck, and their cousin Dorothy McLaughlin pose among the Joshua trees. And Louise is taken by surprise by the photographer, or perhaps she inadvertently takes a selfie. Later on that trip, Jess clowns as he poses with Dick and Buck in a ghost town. In 1926, the family travels to Yosemite National Park. We see Dick, Buck, and Louise posing in front of a giant sequoia, the grizzly giant, and Louise and the boys in front of a sequoia cross-section. The next picture is an action photo in which it appears that a black bear rushes forward as Dick tries to offer it food. The Arnolds also go on family picnics with the extended Arnold and Turner families. For example, in this photo from the 1925-26 period, we see Jess on the far left wearing a peculiar hat. Everett and his wife Goldie are standing on the far right. In front of them is Lydia eating a watermelon. Louise is standing in the middle of the group, facing to the left. From 1921 to 1935, Jesse works for the Lewis Jewelry Company on Atlantic Avenue in Long Beach, which is later relocated to 120-122 Pine Avenue and is known as the C.C. Lewis Jewelry Company, the Watch and Diamond House. In 1937, Jesse opens his own jewelry business in a storefront close by at 118 Pine Avenue. Jesse now specializes in diamond setting. Years later, I asked Dick how Jesse gained prosperity as a diamond setter. Dick said that Jesse had established a reputation as an honest diamond setter. Apparently, unaware customers were vulnerable to having diamonds replaced by zircons in those days by less reputable diamond setters. By 1930, Jesse expands his backyard hobby of keeping parrots and other exotic birds. Dick recalls that Jesse lost sleep in those years because he had to chase cats away from his aviary at night. Valuable birds in the aviary are the cause of Jesse's anxiety. One of Jesse's bird fancier correspondents is Hastings Russell, the 12th Marquess of Tavistock and later the 12th Duke of Bedford, renowned for his far-right politics. Russell is an avid fancier and breeder of parrots and parakeets, well known for his 1929 book, Parrots and Parrot-like Birds in Aviculture. Russell sends Jesse a few pairs of a parrot species that will not breed in Russell's outdoor aviaries in England. Jess and the Marquess hope that the Southern California climate will solve the breeding problem. We don't know whether the experiment ended in success or failure, but along the way, neighborhood cats nearly put Jess in a hospital. In the late 1920s, bird fanciers and breeders form a Southern California chapter of the Avicultural Society of America, the ASA, which was founded in New York in 1927. Jesse is active in this society and by 1931 is elected vice president. In 1930, William J. Scheffler, one of Jesse's ASA colleagues, organizes an expedition to Sonora in northern Mexico to collect live birds as well as museum specimens. Scheffler, whose main business is selling slot machines, has already made several successful bird collecting trips to Sonora. For the 1930 trip, he assembles a diverse cadre of bird enthusiasts that includes Jess, shown here with Mexican assistance, and the expedition truck packed with supplies, including screen for bird cages. Other members of the expedition are Ira Putnam, a stockbroker, Andrew O'Rear, a ventilation engineer, Glenn Purvine, an owner and operator of a service station, and Neville McCoy, a dentist. Rancho Giacoba is the main destination of the February-March expedition in 1930. The rancho is nestled in the foothills of the Sierra Madre Occidental, about 15 miles southeast of Alamos, Sonora, at an elevation of 1,500 feet. The proprietor of the rancho is James McCarty, who has served as host to a succession of biologists visiting Sonora to collect specimens. In the next photo, we see the members of the expedition posing in front of a cage with McCarty. The cage contains a specimen of military macaw, a large parrot. This parrot represents a subspecies unknown to science until Scheffler collects specimens in Sonora in the 1930s. In 1937, it was named for him, Ara miliaris scheffleri. In the next two photos, we see Scheffler preparing a museum specimen of this bird and posing with his Mexican assistants. Rancho Giracoba in Sonora may have been the inspiration for a house that Jess and Louise built in rural Orange County in the early 1940s. The house at the Mexican rancho is surrounded by a courtyard that encloses a garage and parking spaces. In the first picture of the courtyard, we see the gate through which the cars and trucks enter the courtyard. Two men are seated at a table, Scheffler on the left and McCarty on the right. In the next photo, we see the expedition truck with its canvas-covered bed parked in the courtyard. Bird cages are visible in the covered bed and also on the left edge of the photo. In the next image, McCarty is seated on a cart in front of the expedition truck with his family beside and in back of him. The new house that was built in California 10 years later was of similar design, but that new house is V-shaped with an open central courtyard. Jess clearly enjoys his visit to the Sonora Rancho. In this photo, we see him clowning for a group picture with McCarty's family. Jesse returns from his trip to Sonora with a number of souvenirs. A collection of stone axes, a mano and metate for grinding corn, a jar of pickled spiders and centipedes, and a small live parrot that becomes a family pet. This parrot is later the centerpiece of an oil painting that Dick paints in 1942. In 1931, the annual meeting of the Avicultural Society of America is held in Long Beach, California. The meeting includes exhibitions of live birds. 14-year-old Buck Arnold exhibits a live finch. Jesse appears in a 1931 photograph of the officers of the society and in a 1936 photo of the general membership. After the 1931 meeting, the officers go on a tour of the bird park on Santa Catalina Island, 26 miles off the California coast. A few years later, the Arnolds join the Schefflers on an outing. In the photos, we see Dick, Buck, and Louise seated in the back seat, and Jess with Scheffler wearing a hat, his wife seated in the front seat, and his daughter holding a map, and his son wearing a hat. This is the end of part 1. To be continued.